I am going to warn the audience, do not just type skull and bones into Google. This brings up a line of men's underwear and fetish wear.
Word?
I'm glad I had incognito mode on. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of Recon Roundabout. Today, we actually have Loki here as, of course, my co-host, and our special guest today is Trill. Trill has been in the unit for quite a while. Trill, if you want to just kind of go ahead and start us off, I know you're a medic for the kind of larger platoon size, so you are in not task force, you're a company medic, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So, hi everybody. My name is Trill. Despite what Dante said, I am the company medic for a Kyber company, not a platoon medic. Dante, that's your billet. I've been in this community for a year and 8 months. I joined back in early January of last year. I've been in some kind of medic position pretty much the entirety of my time here. I started out as a squad medic for 1-3, and then I moved up to the platoon medic position for Kyber 1st Platoon, so my call sign was Kyber 1-9, and then eventually I moved into the company medic position, so I'm now Kyber 9, and I've been having a great time the whole time I've been here, and I'm actually really excited to be on this podcast. I've been hearing great things from pretty much everybody in the community about this stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm really happy, and I think Scorch really was able to give us some recognition. Granted, it's only been one episode. Loki, by the way, with that, did you ever talk to anybody about getting that like symbol added to your helmet, I guess you want to call it?
Actually, since I just got rank of CSP, I've been thinking about somehow implementing it, but it's still on the thought board of this emblem. It's kind of dope.
You can add it whenever.
Yeah,
like Fraser just replaced the 91st logo with that logo. So yeah, I definitely I'm gonna have it on like the top right of my helmet where like you would see the 91st. So I'm really excited with that. But back to you, Trill, with that. So you're not just a medic. You do a lot of big helps when it comes to C shops, right? So what C shops are you in?
So I am in C2 and C3, and for those who might be first-time listeners, C shops are basically the different departments of the community that do things that help us keep running. So there are things that, like, keeping the back end of the servers running, maintenance and tech support on our servers. There are people who help new players kind of get acclimated to the community at large. And then there's people like me. So I am the department head of the media department in C3. And C3 are the guys that do basically like community outreach, advertising for the community, recruitment, and stuff like that. So as the head of the media department, the YouTube channel, more or less what it is today, blossomed from, and at the risk of sounding a little too arrogant, my hard work. So when I first joined the community, I knew we had a YouTube channel, and we had maybe like 1 or 2 videos on there, some pretty old videos made by some people who were long gone from the community when I first joined, and I'd already had some video editing experience under my belt. I had a friend who is a Twitch streamer. She's got a fairly like medium-sized stream, gets a few hundred viewers every stream, thing like that, and she had hosted a charity stream for a charity she's very passionate about, and she had 100%ed Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga, and was taking donations throughout the whole thing. It was a very long stream, and I had helped her like edit down that VOD into like a highlight reel kind of thing, broken up into multiple parts based on what trilogy she was playing, basically, or what episode rather. And it was kind of like a hobby I picked up when like the COVID pandemic had first started. I have to specify COVID pandemic because now there's more than one infectious disease going around.
Yep.
So I'd enjoyed it, I kind of dipped my toe into it, gotten a feel for just how like what I could really do with it, the creativity in it. So I'd started doing that for the 91st. I knew we had a number of streamers who would record our operations and stuff like that. They had their own streaming communities that they were working on. So I'd reached out to a few people and I said, "Hey, I'm putting this thing together." I had reached out to our head medic in the unit, the task force medic Fallon. I had reached out to Roach. He was a team lead in ARC at the time when I made this first video, and I was like, "Hey, can I use y'all streams and put a little something together?" And they said, "Yeah, yeah." And I decided to make like a highlight reel of just specific campaign like missions in like our main operations. We had a little campaign called Saving Lieutenant Penguin, who was the XO of the unit at the time, and the campaign was basically like revolving around the idea that he had been kidnapped and we had to go find him. And it was supposed to be this long-standing thing, this great, spanning epic of, we got to go from planet to planet. They're moving him from each planet. We got to chase after him. We got to get him back. He's our friend. But on the first mission, I think we accidentally killed him. So it's a little anticlimactic. But we had, the writers had found a way to kind of turn the story into a bit of a revenge story. And it's like, we got to find the people responsible. There were some traitorous clones who had sold out our brother in arms, and we got to go take them down. And then by the end of the campaign, it was like, oh yeah, the person we killed, that was just a body double. We found the actual penguin in like the last mission. So I had made that. Huge, widely positive reception from the community at large. They loved it. They liked the idea. We've gotten hundreds of views on our channel, which, considering a community of our size, that was actually pretty good. And I just kept going with the idea. I started making just highlight compilations of just funny moments in the community, and I had brought more people on to make some more like cinematic trailers of just like the action that you could get in our operations.
Mm-hmm.
And now then I got Dante, who was like, "Hey, let's make a podcast," and I was like, "I love it. Make it happen." And by the way, congratulations in order to you too. The boss man himself, Scorch, complimented you both and gave you like an extra customization for your helmets specifically for you two, or you three. I guess Trauma would be a part of that too.
Yeah.
So, props to you both. Getting the boss man to recognize your work. No pressure, but I
Yeah,
hope
right.
everything
No,
else you do is
not at all.
flawless from here on out.
Yeah, totally. We're not gonna mess up even for a second. You know what? Speaking of back to like the medic stuff outside of the C shop, like one of my biggest asks and something that I've wondered, because so I'm part of Kyber second platoon's like medic. You're the company's medic, so you're kind of the head of the platoons. Why did you do that? Why are you basically where you are right now? Like what made you want to be a medic? What made you enjoy being company in charge of my monkey and Lear the monkey and
and just 6 other Unga Bungas. Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely not because I love stressing out. That definitely was not the choice I made. I had always really liked medic gameplay from when I'd first started playing ARMA. I started playing ARMA on a weaker laptop, so aiming down the sights and shooting the bad guys was always a little bit of a weak point for me, which is kind of odd because you're playing a first-person shooter. Shooting the bad guys is kind of what you have to do. But I really, when I first started playing ARMA, someone introduced me to the Ace Medical mod. And now Ace Medical, for those of you who might not be familiar with this game, is a mod that we use in this community that basically adds a significant amount of realism to the medical gameplay, essentially. Not just for medics, but for every trooper. It's not just, hold this button until the bar fills up and you have healed them fully. Not like Battlefield or, I don't know, Call of Duty, I guess. It's been so long since I played one of those games.
Right. You can't just hold X and wait.
In those two games. But in here, you have the different body parts that can get wounded. There are different types of wounds that could happen based on whether you took a gunshot wound or a grenade blew up next to you, or you got caught on fire because your tank blew up or some shit. And you have to be able to use the right bandages for the right wounds. There can be different things wrong with a patient. They might have got hit by something and they're in so much pain and they've lost so much blood that they've entered cardiac arrest. And now you have to know how to basically heal that. CPR, injecting epinephrine. If their patient's in pain, you have to give them morphine. There's just so many. It's just so in depth and detailed, and actually forces you to critically think about the situation you're in beyond just shoot the bad guy, play optimally, and find the way to cheese out the solution in the video game, essentially.
Right.
So I had picked that in the other community I had played in, and then I came over here. And at first, I didn't know what I want to do when I came over here for sure. But then I joined Kyber 1-3, which is first platoon, third squad. And at the time, they had needed a medic, and I was like, you know what? Why don't I just become the medic? Like if you guys need a position filled, I can do that. And I, I took the class to like learn ace medical. Basically, I did my trial run to see, does he get it? And I got the position. And ever since then, I was like, this is a lot of fun. Medics in this community get a lot more, have a lot more responsibility and authority in a sense. So I had really, I really gotten to feel like I was being challenged, not just in terms of how good can you shoot the bad guy, but how good of a team player you are. So when I moved up to platoon medic, I got to expand on that further. I got to teach the medics in my platoon, like, hey, if we do this, if we communicate like this, if we collaborate with each other like this, we can become more effective. And then, my hard work eventually got recognized and I got offered the position. We're trying to build up a company command staff to help the community, grow and be the best they can be, in game, so we can have more challenging operations. We can, throw more at the player base essentially. And, of course I wasn't going to turn it down. So of course I took the company medic spot because, in short, to summarize that word vomit, this community has given me so much and I wanted to give back to it in a way that I thought that I best could. Now, the meme
Absolutely.
answer was I wanted a bark helmet. So, for those of you that don't know, for those of you who are outside the community, helmet customization comes with your rank, essentially. And you rank up the more you play in the community and the longer you stay in the community, essentially. Now, there are certain positions where you are locked at a certain rank. For example, the squad lead, you are locked at sergeant. If you're a squad leader, the highest you can get is sergeant. If you are a platoon leader, I believe the highest you can get is first lieutenant. If I'm wrong, somebody can, slap me around in the Discord after this episode goes up on YouTube and be like, hey, dumbass, you got it wrong. But the higher you go up, the more customization that you get, the more access to different items in games, weapons and such that you get access to. And when you hit company command staff, which you can have access to the bark helmet. For those of you that know Star Wars, that is the thin visor, the frog face, for lack of a better term. Some people think it's really cool. Some people have the objectively wrong opinion of hating it. I think it looks cool as hell. I like the thin visor. So
I do too.
I really do too. I feel like especially with like the binoculars, or I guess in our case they're night vision, but lore-wise they're binoculars, right?
I'm letting you all know we just made a pact together that we're all gonna get screamed at together.
Oh, absolutely.
Blood
Because we
pact.
all just admitted that we like bark helmets.
Hey, fight us.
Copenhagen, absolutely. You can have your objectively wrong opinion. You're free to do that. That's one of the great things
So
about this
wrong.
internet. You can have shit opinions.
Yeah.
Anyways, that is my joke answer. Anytime anyone asks me, it's like, bro, bark helmet, hello? But no, the actual answer is this community has given me so much in terms of like, all the friends I've made and how much I've like been able to learn about this game and grow that, I want to help other people do the same thing.
For sure. I mean, you help a lot of people. I think that kind of wraps back to like something that I kind of wish I started the podcast asking, because Trill, I usually talk to you very readily. Same with Loki, and I've been pretty busy this week. But how are you guys? Like, what's new? What's going on with you two?
Oh, how am I? Loki, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I could go. I mean, I got 2 days before I move back into college and start my sophomore year of criminal justice, and then literally the 2 days after, in 3 days, I turn 19 because that's August 23rd. And then I don't know, it's just more of hanging out, chilling, seeing what happens. I recently had a conversation with my local esports team, which is our school's esports team. I don't know why I said it like that. I don't know. I got to know all the recruits yesterday. They're all pretty chill. Some of them suck at video games, but I mean, you get better over time. I didn't know what fucking Valorant well, I knew what they were, but I just never played them. And then literally last year, they were like, "Hey, you want to play this game professionally and like win money and stuff?" I'm like, "Sure, why not?" I like
Yo,
video
let me get in
games.
on that, bro.
Yeah, let me cap on
I
this
already
real
play
quick.
the shit out of video games.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I be playing dumbass games. I don't know if I call them dumbass, but like I just bought that cat game. Fucking what's it
Mhm.
called?
Stray
Yeah,
looks so good.
dude.
I
I like
pre-ordered
spent
that.
like 40 minutes playing it, and it is a fantastic game. It's
Cat
really fun.
simulator.
Cat game.
Cat game.
Look, man, it's got a dedicated meow button. Like, how could you
It
not drop
does.
60 bucks
Dude,
on
it's
that?
spectacular. Spectacular. I dropped 70. What the fuck?
Trill, what's life been like for you?
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. So my summer semester for grad school ended last week.
Nice.
Semester didn't really end quite the way I was hoping it would, but that's all right. You can't win them all.
Darn. Yeah.
I've got class coming up starting next week or next week and a half. I'd say I've got about 9 days left of my very short break in between semesters. Without revealing a little too much about myself, OPSEC and all, I am a graduate student studying public health. My concentration is in epidemiology, or the study of infectious diseases.
Gross.
Let's go. We always need more of those.
Hell yeah!
That
And
that's not sarcastic. Sorry.
I don't worry, I knew.
I felt like I gave up that
Just
dude.
roasted the shit out of
It's like,
Trill.
oh,
yeah,
Hey,
that's
yeah,
what we
good
need.
choice,
No.
dude.
Another
Like,
fucking
that's a
infectious
job that
disease
we definitely need that job because
One more of
fucking-
those.
God, no, because of COVID and everything. Like, it was awful. Like, no,
Yeah.
we need more people.
No, but I'm taking a fairly hefty course load. The typical course load in graduate school, at least what I'm told, is 9 credit hours. I'm taking 10 credit hours because I'm taking 4 classes, and I'm going to be starting my thesis. I can't share too many details about what my thesis is going to be about, but I'm definitely hoping to do some research into monkeypox and its
Ooh.
context in the United States and how it is spread and stuff like that. So I'm gonna need to start, shaking some hands, bumping elbows with the powers that be, like with all the staff and stuff, and all like the research fellows at my institute or my university. So I've been pretty busy getting ready for that. This is going to be the first semester that I actually have to go to campus. So beforehand, we had been very cautious about COVID protocols. So you could take what was called an ITV course, and that was basically the course would be held at one of our institution or one of our campuses in another city. And if you weren't in that city, you could basically go to your campus, sit in a room, and they would be live streaming that lecture, to the professor via Zoom, and you would sit in the classroom and you could ask questions, and it would kind of be like you're there, but you're not really there. And they used to require you to go on campus and basically just sit in a live stream, which I always thought was a little bit silly, but with
Right,
COVID,
'cause
they
you're
would
already,
allow
like,
you.
going
You're already just
out.
on the computer, right?
Yeah.
You're already. Why am I going to go sit in an empty room? And which actually did happen to a few of my classmates. There were some people, like say for example, the class would be held in one location, and there would be sister campuses across the state, and there would be a student from another campus, and that student would just go sit in a massive lecture hall, empty, all by themselves for this one class because they had to go in person. And it was the most ridiculous, the bureaucratic thing. But they had amended the rules to allow us to attend classes from home, just log into Zoom on your computer, your personal device, just sit at home. Didn't even have to turn on your webcam, which I thought was fantastic. So I didn't even have to make myself presentable in any sense. So for a year and some change, I just done that. But now, for the first time, they're like, all right, we're opening campus back up. We are really excited to see you guys. And I'm like, I am not excited to make the incredibly long commute from where I live to the college campus, especially because I have early morning classes at 8:30 or 9 a.m. So I'm gonna have to beat morning rush hour. So
That
I'm not really
sucks.
looking forward to that. But I'm trying to see if I can last minute, weasel my way into a purely online class so I can avoid it. But we'll have to see how things are going in that sense. Outside of my boring academic life, I have been continuing to do work for C3. You know, we're hoping to push out some new videos very soon on the YouTube channel. Keep an eye open for that. It's going to be different from what you guys usually see on that channel. And then in terms of C2, which I've not talked about what I do in C2, and also I should mention I'm also in C5. That is the training C shop, basically teaching newer players how to play like ARMA, specifically in relation to the mods we have. You might think, how hard could it be to shoot a rifle? You know, right click and then left click. It's a shooter game, but you know, there's a lot of stuff in, like, the mods we use that you know you have to be familiar with. So I'm a part of that as well. But in terms of C2, we are working on a new campaign for the next campaign cycle. We recently just finished ours, our last campaign cycle for first and second platoon. And campaigns are like series of missions with stories. And you know, based on how you perform in one mission, it can affect the next mission after it, and so on and so forth. So we're making another really big one. I don't want to leak too many details about it because it's still in the works, and we want to make a big, massive announcement to like the unit at large. But I can tell you that it is very ambitious. It is going to be the largest project we have ever undertaken in the writers departments. And
well, like I got into C2 and I'm super excited.
Definitely, man.
Super excited.
We're glad to have you on board.
Mr. Pen and Paper over here. Usually, if we're not doing anything in TeamSpeak, he'll be like, he'll be over here writing just little stories, which are actually pretty interesting. He's read a few of the ideas out to me, like, what was it? Destiny 2. But what if like they kind of had more of a darker side to them instead of, oh hey, I'm gonna go fight for the light. Oh hey, the light ain't great.
It's like edgy, but I really do enjoy it. Yeah, hey man, sometimes you got to do the stuff with the sadness to do the good things. But like I even write about like Warhammer, and like I can't wait to actually sit down and like work with like Bacon and like Lear and Loki. You Zeus, right?
Yeah, like there's an FTX today.
Even you, like, and work with like a lot of the Zeuses and stuff like that to come up with some really nice stuff. Like I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, because it's the writing team that helps us understand like what like the idea is, and like a few writers will go in real big detail of like how they picture it, how they want it, and us Zeus guys can like, if the details are there, we can properly like execute it. Most of the time, if our brain is there, or you know, or if there's very little detail and they want us to play around with it a little bit, that makes it even more cool because now I can just like maybe throw a few droids this way or that way. Or I know recently we've had a trend where we went more a little bit more of immersion, so we're kind of like letting certain high value targets leave, and I know sometimes that's been a that's been a struggle for platoons, because when I first sent off the HVT to leave, they chased it in the little chicken legs that Beskar have, the RTT or
the ATRT.
ATRT.
I call them chicken walkers because they're like, they look like chickens.
I call it chicken legs, chicken walkers. Nah, but we're definitely trying to get a little bit more of a good old immersive feeling. That's always the part of it. The story's also there. Gotta make sure all the aspects of gameplay are there. There's a Zeus and a writer
most
and everything there.
Right, you know. So the writing team tries to help innovate on the tried and true formula that we typically use, because you know most ARMA missions are going to be what? Go to point A, shoot the bad guys. Go to point B, shoot the bad guys. Go to point C, put a stick of C4 on this important object, and then shoot the bad guys. And then as you're flying away in your helicopter, hit detonate and get to see the cool explosion. So we try to innovate. You know, Star Wars has a very rich like compendium of lore, both canon and now non-canon. So we try to take what we can from that and innovate on it the best we can. So I've been very busy with that in terms of how my week has been. So
yeah, Jesus, I mean,
I've had a busy week. Short to make a long story very short.
Dude, I have too. I've been working like 12-hour days, then coming home and being like zooted. and just sitting down and like just like
I empathize
you know,
with that,
speaking
man.
of speaking of current news as well, I've been playing a lot of Warhammer Total War, like 3, and they're coming out with Mortal Empires. I don't know if you guys play it, but I am dummy hype for it, except I'm pretty sure it's probably gonna be like 120 gigs.
Oh yeah, I played the prequel, I think Total War Warhammer 2 for a bit. Um you know, kind of bounced off of it. I was never too big into like the fantasy side of Warhammer. I was
Right.
always a bit more into the 40k side of it, but it was definitely like a good game, not gonna lie. I
Yeah,
like the
I mean,
dwarves.
Total War
I like
games
that
are
their whole
good
gameplay
too.
mechanic with the
Yeah.
dwarves. They have
Oh
beef.
yeah.
They have
The,
beef. That's it. You know, we're
the Grudge
beefing.
book.
The
The
grudge
Your
grudge
name's
book!
going in the book.
It's going in the book.
is
And then in
literally
like
getting
I
400
love the
years.
dwarves.
getting canceled in high fantasy.
Seriously,
Uh,
dude. I mean, speaking of games though, did you guys see that there's actually Fallen Order books coming out?
yeah.
I did not actually.
I have to
Yeah.
take I have to take that with like little steps. I don't want to put all my hopes and dreams and thinking it's good writing. Not to say like I mean the recent books that came out, like the recent books that I keep seeing put on, you know, BAM or whatever. Um, they're okay. I wouldn't say they're the
Right.
best, but they're definitely an okay read.
Did you read the
Um,
High Republic books?
I did. They're pretty good.
Those were
Also,
those were pretty good, but where does the High Republic happen? So you have like the Old Republic, right? Is
yep.
that before the High Republic?
Yes.
My
So
understanding is
Okay, so it's like
basically,
hi-
like if you've played
okay,
Knights of the Old Republic, those old games, some of the most fantastic like Star Wars lore that has ever been
experience.
written.
Yeah.
I could spend a whole podcast talking about KOTOR 2 and Creo, but we're not going to do that. So basically, there's the Old Republic, you know, then SWOTOR, the MMORPG. I think that's the genre that it is. I'm sure somebody's going to correct me on that very kindly and politely. And then you have that like vague window in between SWOTOR and then Star Wars Episode 1 that is just nebulously large enough that you could basically fit any story you want to. They call that the High Republic. That is
Okay.
more or less the height of what we see in episodes 1 through 3, like that government before it kind of like falls to shit. It is riding on that high. I like to think of it as this is gonna be a really narrow and oddly specific comparison. I like to think of it as like 1980s Japan, where like just like it wasn't hyperinflation, but just everyone was rich. Everyone was spending money and balling out and just going out to the club and just buying stupidly expensive shit all the time because everyone was prosperous. You know, there's tons of money to go around.
Interesting.
But of course, the bubble burst and massive economic crash
Right.
happened, and that's episodes 1, 2, and 3. The bubble bursts,
Well,
everything
like,
falls to shit. The empire rises out of the ashes.
but I
Mhm.
always thought that the Republic didn't the Republic kind of run like you had your main like government, but then you also had like what would be considered as best as like fiefdoms. Or am I construing that with another fucking?
Kind of.
Fiefdoms, too big word.
Well, I think so. There was a Galactic Senate. Basically, if you were in Republic space, you had these like intergalactic laws that you had to follow. You know paid your taxes if you wanted to use the hyperspace routes. If you wanted the protections and like the I guess the guarantees of the government on Coruscant, you know, you paid your dues, you kicked up your tribute, whatever. But then you had like planetary governments, and you were more or less like as long as you were abiding by like the what would
The
be
larger
analogous is
rule.
like federal laws. Like if your state was
Right.
abiding by federal laws, they wouldn't really get too deeply involved in what you did. And like
Okay.
there were pretty broad like laws you had to follow to, like no slavery, no cybernetic implants that weren't like like regulated. Because I remember what like a piece of lore was that like cybernetic implants are very heavily regulated. Like you had to go to like an approved vendor or some shit like that, or you had to have it like done in like the inner core or some shit. So like in the TV series, you know, the Book of Boba Fett, when Boba Fett went out to that like that bar, that tattoo bar in the middle of nowhere or some shit, and they were doing like cybernetic implants, like that was very much, you know, against the law. That was off the books, you know. Kind of like getting it's like getting surgery done in the back alley kind of thing.
It makes sense though. No, I mean, you know what? Star Wars has always been quite fascinating. I mean, of course, the whole Disney thing kind of put everyone into a conundrum as far as like quote unquote lore is considered, but they're kind of coming back to it. Thank God David Fillion is there because he seems very
Cowboy hat. Anyways, I swear, I always see him with a cowboy hat.
Oh, dude, I don't think I've seen him without that. Actually,
yeah, I
good
don't think I
point.
have either.
That's a great
Yeah,
point.
that's a good point. I don't think I've seen him without his hat either. This is part of his hair. Just he can't take it off. He just grew his hair.
It's actually
exactly.
linked to his head.
It's actually got all the Star Wars knowledge kept inside there. He has to keep it on, otherwise it floods out.
He has episodes 1 through 6 under there.
Yep,
yeah,
exactly.
The servers for Wikipedia
Under
are
lock.
stored under his hat.
Bro, sometimes he looks like Doug Dimmadome.
What if it's like a Ratatouille situation? What if there's a rat in there and it's controlling him?
No, dude, it's Babu. It's fucking Babu Frick.
Yeah,
it's Babu Frick's under there. You pulling the hair around.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. I kind of forgot about Babu. Oh god.
You know, I like walk around at work and like it just comes into my head. And I'll just be like walking around and be like, Babu Frick. And I'm like, fuck. God, that movie. Dude. I really enjoy that though. I'm really glad like the Mandalorian really took like an S tier stand on things because I really feel like Disney was kind of floundering.
It tried something different, and that's something that a lot of these IPs don't want to do. They want to stick to consumer tested, means tested. Like survey shows that we're gonna make the most amount of money, or we're gonna reach the widest audience if we do this. The Mandalorian is like, what about what if we just had a cowboy story in space? And I was like, fantastic. The Mandalorian is basically he's the cowboy. He's the I don't know any names
like
of
a lone survivor
movies that come to mind, but he rides into town, he fixes a problem, and he rides out of town.
Dude, speaking of IPs though, I know this is a massive flop over, but Dragon Ball Z is in Fortnite now.
Oh
yeah,
boy.
I did.
And
see that.
I've been seeing crazy videos.
Just Master Chief running away from Chun-Li, who's about to fucking clap his cheeks with the Kamehameha
laser beam,
and then she hits the Dougie. It is.
Dude.
It is some
shit.
Yeah,
I didn't think I'd watch Goku hit the fucking gritty, but we're here now. 2022, man.
Like seeing all the videos on Twitter is really funny, but then you come to realizations like, oh, this is all like these Goku skins and all that are all like behind a paywall essentially.
Oh yeah,
from what
they're
I
like
understand.
$20. Like you watch those guys run around and transform, they spent $40, 100%.
Yep.
And I empathize with the parents who like every few months their kids come running up and screeching like, "Mom, I have to buy the Goku in the Fortnite. I need your credit card again." It's like, oh, these poor, just like back in my day. I'm gonna sound like a boomer for a little bit. I have to do this. Back in my day, mom and dad or whoever would take me to fucking GameStop. Here's like a $10 bill. Go to the used game section and just find some shovelware for the Wii or the GameCube, and you will convince yourself that this is a good game. I sat there for like 2 months after Christmas, like Stockholm syndroming myself, telling myself that the flushed away tie-in video game for the movie was a genuinely good game because my aunt bought me that game for Christmas and I love my auntie very much. So I convinced myself that that was a good game, and it wasn't. It was an abhorrent platformer. It was just contrite and basic and just not very entertaining. But I love that woman and she loved me.
I have no idea what you're talking about, dude.
So if I completely
You've never seen Flushed Away?
No, but I'm telling you right now that game is one of the best games I've ever played in my life. I'm just fucking with you.
Okay. I was sitting there like, we are not doing this rest of the podcast. A Flushed Away tie-in video game. But no, back to the point about just Fortnite. Like, at the risk of sounding like incredibly like nihilistic and just like head up my own ass, like smelling my own farts, it kind of just feels like the natural conclusion for like media, where like all media nowadays is just referencing other things. It's like playing Where's Waldo. It's like, oh look, there's that thing from that other piece of media, And then there's that thing from that other piece of media. And I might just be a stick in the mud about it. I'll admit I haven't played Fortnite in since 2018 probably. So I don't know. Maybe this is just incredibly fun and the game is experiencing a renaissance.
Well, dude,
And
I don't knock Fortnite. Like, I don't think I ever really spent any real time playing it. I really, really, really do not knock it because it knows the audience. It just buys IPs and it sells it. And they make fucking money all the time. It's like they know what they're doing and they're doing it very well.
absolutely, yeah, that just prints money. And for the most part, they've done a really good job, catering to their
dude,
audience.
they redid the engine and everything.
I actually did not know that, so props to them.
Yeah.
I guess I won't be such a doomer about it then. Never mind. I will say though, the one thing I will never get over is they can put Goku in Fortnite, they can put Master Chief in Fortnite, they could put Rick and Morty in Fortnite, but they put Martin Luther King Jr. in Fortnite, and I will never forget. I will never forget the video of the Joker and Ryu doing the flossing in front of the "I Have a Dream" speech, while fucking
it just doesn't
Girl
apply well.
holds up a protest sign in the background, and it's like, what were you thinking? Genuinely, what were you thinking? Because you could take some of that shit into the actual game mode. I get it. There's kids who play that game and Epic Games we're gonna teach the kids about this important part of history. It's yeah, go for it, but really,
yeah, teach the unbridled devil children that this part of history is good when they have access to do whatever the fuck they want with whatever it is.
Or
they're
it's
being taught.
You have access to the boo and the L emotes. You have a bunch of people booing Martin Luther King Jr. as he gives his "I Have a Dream" speech, and oh my god,
Bro, you gotta remember the famous quote. It's the guy from Fortnite.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, don't you remember that video from Fortnite where the guy has a dream about something? I can't remember.
He had a dream about getting more V-Bucks, definitely.
Yeah, probably.
Don't quote this out of context, please. I'm sure you could stitch them together and just make it horrible. Okay, yeah, Goku in Fortnite. Congratulations to all
Goku, Travis Scott, Fortnite dance.
So I still pray every day that they will make a Dragon Ball Z movie that takes place in Mexico. They deserve it. They deserve it just for their sake. I want to see Goku just walking with Taqueria in Guadalajara or some shit, and just he looks over to the left and there's just art of him on the walls, and he's just yeah, I'm home.
I can't wait for Goku to say it's Goku time.
And he goked all over those guys.
I'm about to Goku. And then laser beams.
I used to play Fortnite when it first came out, and I played it for a good I think 5 months when it first came out, because it was before the storm or whatever the single player thingy was. I used to play that
back when it was still a zombie survival game.
I bought it. I bought Fortnite, and that's a weird thing to say because you can't really buy Fortnite, but back then you could. I think you still can.
I think you still can, and you can get access to the Save the World game mode. But I don't know who plays that.
Right. Nobody cares about that.
Yeah, I don't think anyone really does. I think it's really just a battle royale. That's what we focused on. But I used to play the battle royale. I think I bought the fucking T-Rex skin, and I think that was the only thing I ever spent my money on in that game.
Bro, I used it every day. That's like season 1 shit.
Oh yeah,
that is way even.
I think I played way back when, in 2018, and the first game I played, I used to be really skeptical about, okay, are these battle royale games really putting bots in to make me feel better? And then I played my first game of Fortnite, and I landed on the most outer edge of the storm or whatever, and I just walked in a straight line to the center of the map. I was like, where is everybody? I can't find anyone. I was picking up guns, I was picking up ammo and other items. And then I got to the center, and I saw one guy his back turned fighting someone else, and then I shot him in the back of the head, and then I won the game. I got first place. I got first place with a single kill. Okay, they put bots in this. They definitely did.
Yeah.
Because I suck at shooter games, and there's no way I won my very first game. So that's what convinced me. But
well, dude, switching over as well, something that's coming out that I think is really, really exciting is actually Skull and Bones. You guys hear about that?
Remind me. I feel like you mentioned.
Isn't that weird pirate game?
So what it is like you guys play Black Flag Assassin's Creed?
Oh my
Mhm.
god, yeah, definitely.
It's just boat stuff.
Oh
It's
yeah, I
like
think I know what you're
they
talking
took the
about.
boat
Yeah.
stuff and made a game out of it. And honestly, I'm hype about it.
I am going to warn the audience, do not just type Skull and Bones into Google. This brings up a line of men's underwear and fetishware.
Word.
I'm glad I had incognito mode on. That's all I'm gonna say. Just fair warning for everyone. It is
Skull
just
and Bones.
I'm looking at a
Skull and
leather
Bones
harness.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
hey, this is not based off of my algorithm and prior like history search because I'm
You're
in
not.
incognito mode. So this is definitely
It's on
not
my
just me.
ads. I see the game, and then here's just a giant ad for their
Just
their
a very
thong
muscular
underwear.
man wearing very tight pink underwear that is prominently portraying the
Ooh.
family jewels.
Oh, it's made by Ubisoft. I didn't know it was made by them.
Yeah, well,
Wow.
dude, I'm telling you, they literally took Assassin's Creed Black Flag's like ship combat and just made a game out of it. And like you can play. I don't know if you played Black Flag and you remember, but you remember those Men of War ships?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They're fucking massive. You can play as those, but you can also play as like those little schooners. And obviously,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
like give and take to it, but like it's so cool looking. I was just watching a video before the podcast, actually, of like a gameplay overview of it.
Mhm.
It is exactly what I say it is too. Like it's the ship customization has been like tripled as well. So like you can do so much more. And I'm pretty sure you can fight, like you can do the whole like ship rating thing. You know what I'm talking about, where you like jump from ship to ship and like
Oh
pirate
fuck
fight.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like that'd be cool as shit. I hope so. Because Ubisoft drops the ball
Yeah, no,
sometimes.
you're not wrong.
You know,
Sometimes that's putting it nicely.
I mean, with pirate games, Sea of Thieves will always have my heart. I'm so high level in the game, and like I have so much fun with it because the wacky, weird people you'll meet.
oh yeah, and everybody's built interestingly.
Yeah, like you'll be sailing out there in your little sloop, and you'll be like, "All right, time to like go grind out on like the giant skull in the sky one." I don't know what people really call it anymore now,
Yeah,
but fucking
it's like they're like raids, but for
yeah, and it's fun. But
yeah.
then like you'll be sailing out there, you'll be chilling, and then you'll hear some guy in game go, "Oui, oui, the French are coming to sink your boat," or like the Spanish will come. It's always some foreign boat. I swear to God, every time I play, it's some foreign boat that comes by, and they'll be the funniest people, or they'll be like, "I'm going to sink your boat now."
Or yeah, like you can use that like megaphone.
Yeah, you can use the megaphone, and it goes far, far. It's so
Play that game
funny
again because they
because
did that Pirates of the Caribbean mix up.
yeah,
That was pretty cool.
yeah, that was
I'll
definitely a
have to
fun
check that
little
out.
adventure line. But
I
yeah,
mean,
it's always something weird on the seas.
dude, Sea of Thieves was so odd in the beginning too. But you remember when you would like first see the like outline? You know how like the sea turns black before you get attacked?
Oh yeah, it still does. Yeah.
Dude, that shit. I'm like semi afraid of the ocean because of shit like
Rip.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like I don't fucking play with that stuff. I like walk 10 feet into the ocean and I'm like, I'm good. I'm good here. I'm not
Can't
going
say
any
I've been
farther.
Kraken in a long time in that game. That's usually what
Yeah,
used to get you all
I
the
should
time
read
was the
stuff.
Kraken, and then
It's like that
the
shark
Davy.
thing.
Yeah, the shark or the Sea of the or not the
Davy
pirates,
Jones.
the Davy Jones fucking skeleton ships where they'll just come right underneath the water and pull up right beside you and say hello and just start bombarding you with cannon fire.
Yeah,
Oh,
that game sounds like a lot of fun. I don't knock it at all. I like that it's still very cartoony though, because it adds like a
oh yeah.
levity
They
to it
just
all.
recently added that you can name your ship and customize your captain's quarters now. This is what
Word.
the biggest ideas that just came out. Oh yeah. Constant updates.
Well, I mean, like back to as far as video games go, the 91st. I'm also really happy to see that we brought in a new Gark. Not really a member, I guess, is the best word to explain it. Gark unit.
They're on
yes,
probation.
our family is grown 1 unit larger.
So we're
Recently,
at 6 now?
the 85th Blitz Battalion is on probationary status within GARC. They are currently on trial to join our community at large. I'm very excited to to see the community grow, meet some new friends and stuff like that. They all
Absolutely.
seem like really cool people. I sat down and talked with one of their platoon leads, Hippo, for a little bit. Great guy, love talking to him. Talked to one of their pilots. I believe his name was Vintage. I probably just butchered that name, so I'm sorry if you're hearing this. I'm terrible with like memorizing names, but I went over and played with them in an op for a little bit. I couldn't stick around for long, of course, but I did, get to run with their boys for a while. We had representatives from the 501st, 212th, 101st, 327th, and 91st all in there. We had people from every other GARC unit all playing in the same server at the same time. I've never seen that
Unheard
in
of. Yeah,
in
neither
8 months. I think I've only probably seen that one other time, and that was a charity event that the 101st was hosting a while back. But like that was a really large event, so we were all kind of spread out everywhere. But this one, like we were all within talking distance of each other, and that was a lot of fun to see. It was really enjoyable. Everyone I've met over there, real cool to talk to. Real enjoyable to hang out with. So I definitely hope to see more of them in the future. And if any of you 85th boys are listening, welcome to the family.
Absolutely. Hey, and just to make sure that if anybody's listening, just I guess in general, from the 91st, especially make sure, make sure that if you do go over there or want to go over there, that you have an NCO present.
Yes.
So anybody CP and above, or I guess CXP, CP above that is coming with you. I don't think it needs to be a 1-to-1 ratio. So
it does
like,
not. You just
I guess if Trill has to go,
one representative basically, and
just Central.
And the only reason we say that is because we're currently, trying to get our individual mods to work together with each other. So there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of moving parts. So for now, we ask that, you only run the 15S, the 15A rifles while you're over there, just until, our boys over in the C4C shop, which for those of you that don't know, that is basically our creation team. They make all the mods for us. They make our assets, the weapons, the tanks we drive, the helmets that we put on our heads, stuff like that. Until they can iron out any minor bugs or discrepancies and make things stable. Just for now, tread lightly.
Yeah, of course. I want to go over there and get some tags, and I'd love to talk to those people. I might try to force Fraser to come with me tonight after the op. Just so I can see if I can just, chat it up with anybody. Loki, did you talk to any of those guys?
In the 85th?
Yeah.
No, I kind of just know them by like I did a little stalking. No, I'm a TikTok guy,
Wow.
and so I usually
just
usually
a light.
I'm
just lightly
I'm
sitting
usually
outside
just always
in the
scrolling
bushes.
through. So like I mean, one day like God, it was like my 5th month inside of 91st, and like I was just scrolling to TikTok, and I just saw they started the idea, the forum, and everything, and they even had the Discord thing put out. I
On TikTok,
I haven't followed on TikTok. Yeah, 85th has like a huge media following.
Maybe you should start a fucking TikTok.
Definitely, yeah. Their YouTube channel is very impressive too. We have a couple hundred subscribers in the 91st YouTube channel. They have about 2,500.
Jesus Christ, good for them.
I want to
they
pick their
put
brains
it
and
out
see
there.
how can we manipulate Al Gore's rhythm so that it dances to the beat of our own drums and we get some numbers like that.
And
Dude, yeah, that'd be
so
dope.
like I remember when it's not their CC, I think it's their 2IC. I'm about to go double check in their Discord.
Legion's their unit XO.
It's Komodo. He's the one at the TikTok I saw, because he was the one who was like, "Hey, we're making the 85th Blitz Battalion," and he showed off like a whole bunch of gameplay, just them hanging out, blah blah blah. And I just remember the whole comment section was just filled, just being like, "Whoa, is this ARMA? What is this? Blah blah blah. Can I join? Blah blah blah." And then the Discord.
I mean, TikTok's the new medium, bro.
I mean, it's where people are mostly like me. Like if I'm bored or anything, I'm scrolling, looking at dumb cat memes, Star Wars memes, and like, dude, Gark stuff pops up sometimes, and I think it's just because I follow the 85th one guy's TikTok, but no, I kind of saw them. I saw them. They were born, and I hopped in their Discord. And I remember when I joined, they're like, "Oh, you wanting to join?" I was like, "No, no, no, no. I'm part of the 91st. I'm just here to watch."
Yeah, that's nice, man. I
That's
appreciate it. I'm glad. I feel like TikTok is probably the more like true to young people. You know, I definitely think that if you're trying to get out there, you'll definitely reach a lot of good like younger people from there.
It is definitely the
in
line in the
comparison.
sand between millennials and Zoomers. I'm
Absolutely.
kind of like on the cusp. So like I'm 25. I was born in '97. So I'm
Gross.
like an older. I know.
So was
I'm
I.
such an old man.
So was I, bro.
I'm an
So-
03
I am too, bro. Bro, I got like hip problems and shit. I got bed like,
Oh my
sometimes.
god, yeah. You know, at like when you hit like 24 or whatever, one day you're gonna sit down and then you're gonna stand up and you hear one of like your bones make a funny noise, and then just for the rest of your life, it's just gonna feel funky.
Oh yeah, my right knee pops all the time. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And like, you know what's the worst, Trill, about this is you can like bracket out your life now, and I think that's so funny because
Ugh,
I was like
hate
talking to
that.
someone who's like 19, and I was like, you know what? When I was your age, and I stopped myself, and I was like, fuck, I'm getting old, man. Like,
I
no.
hate it. I do that so much with younger people in this unit where they'll talk about like, you know, getting into college and just like dealing with class. Like he's like, you know, when I was a freshman in college, and I'm like, stop, boomer, stop before you get made fun of
Right.
again. You're just gonna hurt yourself.
Oh yeah,
Ugh.
you'll talk to kids in there. They're like 7, you know, here, and they're like 17, and they're like, yeah, I just met this girl, and I was like, oh man,
Young
you know,
love,
I
right?
remember when I was 17 and all this shit. That was like 8 years ago or 7 years ago. And it's like, Jesus. Oh
Yeah, it's
man, it's
terrible.
horrible,
I
bro.
found a white hair in my mustache the other day.
Oh no.
I know.
Already?
The stress is
damn.
built up
The
to
s-
Trill already.
the
Yeah.
stress having to deal with all the fucking medics in this unit. No, I'm kidding. I love you guys very much. But you are a source of stress for me. But God, what was I saying about TikTok? So yeah, I feel like that's the generational divide right there. Is like that's where I drew my line in the sand. I was like, I'm technically a Zoomer, but I'm not gonna get TikTok. I feel like I've hit the one. I just feel like I don't want another social media. Like I'm just kind of tired of social media in general. I have my Twitter. I have my personal
Gross.
Twitter, and then I have my Twitter that I use to shitpost on, so
Mm-hmm.
employers don't find it. And then that's kind of it. Like I deleted my Facebook finally. Like I think
Oh,
a month
God,
and a
I
half
did
ago.
too.
I finally hit the button because I was like, enough of this. I'm so tired of this. I have an Instagram that I never post on because I have like one friend who sends me memes on it. I'm like, I want to keep that line of communication open. And then I have a Snapchat that same friend will also use to talk to me instead of texting me, even though he has my number. It's like I'll keep that
Yeah.
just because we're such good friends, but I'm not gonna post on it.
Dude, one of my friends that I work with, I see the guy like 5 days a week, 6 hours a day at minimum. He sends me pictures of his forehead every 5 hours.
Fucking forehead.
Just his forehead. No words.
Forehead
Nothing.
check.
I'm like,
Forehead check.
Yep, still there, man. I'll be sitting next to him and he'll send me pictures. And I'm like, bro, yeah, you know what? It's like, I think
Dante,
that it's really nice. What?
Everyone's
What?
got their humor, just like you and your top tech bottom text.
What?
Sound it out.
Come on.
So this
I
man
forget
Dante
what
over
he's
here
talking
will laugh at anything. But here's the one that always gets me.
Don't
He'll
know
just
what he
send memes once in a while, and he'll go top text, bottom text, and that's just what it
Oh,
says.
dude,
It'll
it's
be a
the
picture,
funniest
and it
shit
has the
in the
top and
world.
bottom text, and it just says top and bottom text.
It's-
There's nothing there.
I swear to God,
Except
I'm
that.
gonna make like when we edit this, you're gonna see it. I just take meme templates, like just like a blank white with like top text and then bottom text and send it to people. It kills me every single fucking time. I love it to death.
Someday Dante's gonna learn what middle text is, and that's just gonna be mind fucking blowing for him.
We'll
it's
never
happening
hear the end of
today.
it.
Today. No, you know what? Godspeed to the people who figure this out. But however you could fucking get it so that Discord memes move,
Oh
Do you know what
my
I'm talking
god,
about?
I know exactly
Oh,
what you're
yeah.
talking about. The ones that are loud as shit, and then like the
And then you have
window
to,
of the
like,
video
close
starts going
Discord?
up and down. Well, the ones that crash
Dude,
Discord, those are just annoying. But like the ones that like move around, so I can't
and it plays, like,
fucking
a
like
song
close
or
it, and it
something.
plays a loud ass song, and it's like, thank God I wasn't looking at this in public. Like,
Dude,
ugh.
those kill me. I have one that's like a Minecraft, like, pressure plate, Loki. Do you know? You remember?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, just move it up. You like, dude.
You're talking about the piston.
Yeah, thank you, Jesus. I don't
God,
play
you don't play
Minecraft,
Minecraft, you
bro. I
nerd.
don't know. Kids do. Kids yearn for the mines, bro.
I used to play
Yeah.
Minecraft. Shit.
I should go play Minecraft again. I saw that there was that fucking update with that blind monster thing.
Yeah, the warden. That's scary stuff. Anyways, got me
Yeah, you
talking
know
over
what? I'm gonna be honest. My humor has degraded. I think when I joined this unit, it fell even farther
here.
Oh yeah.
and has just fallen
You
into
met the
some
people of
like
the 91st.
great collective of just nothingness. But for some reason, it's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. At the same time, you know, I think that even on that topic alone, like that is probably the best reason why I've stuck around. Because like I'm coming around to about 10 months. Like I'm
Hey,
almost
wake
at
up.
a year. Yeah, no, I am at I like maybe almost because I'm pretty sure I joined like right before the end of the year last year.
Nice.
So, I mean, I'm coming over in a year, and I feel like even through like the server issues that we had, and I know we got a new server box, those have kind of resolved a lot of them. But just or maybe like the personal issues that I've had being here, I think has been able to help me through so much because it's like I can sit down and shoot the shit with you, Loki, or you, Trill, you know what I mean, or Frasier and A through Z of people, and it's really nice. And I think that's one of the reasons that I want to get into like these C shops is because I feel like it's a good opportunity to give back, you know?
Mhm.
And
Right. Yeah.
and I mean, I'm sure Trill, you could speak to this too, but the burnout um is like levitied by a lot of that, I think, because it's like when I don't want to play, I'm like, I'll sit here and talk to like just my friends in general here, and it'll turn it around in like 15 minutes or less, you know? Because I think we all suffer from that every once in a while. I mean, Trill, you've been here for almost 2 years
Yeah,
now.
I'm coming up on 2 years in a couple of months, and it's like, yeah, to anyone who's listening to this who's like outside of like ARMA, Star Sim, don't let this conversation intimidate you. It's not like you don't have to make such a massive commitment. If you just want to show up once a week, play a game, and see you next week, there's totally a ton of people in the community
Absolutely.
do that. But like there are opportunities for people to get more invested into the community, really give back, help shape the direction the community goes in, and in exchange get a little extra drips, some extra customization and shit. But
Yeah, like your fucking binoculars.
yeah, definitely. And we all have each other's backs and shit. If someone's kind of like got some shit going on in real life, someone can be there to help pick up the slack, like in terms of like C shop work and all those things like that. But on the flip side, whenever I'm feeling like burnout from just stuff in real life, I'm in graduate school. I'm in academia. I constantly have to put on like this facade of professionalism in front of everybody, and that like my life revolves around what I study, kind of. And
Kind
I
of.
come here and I make stupid ass lame jokes in a video game, and I can help deal with the burnout from all that, and then I'm back to feeling passionate about what I'm studying. It definitely
Hell yeah.
there's a important balance that comes into play, for sure, what in regards to that. And I feel like this is a great community for that.
Absolutely. And I mean, like, I wasn't really speaking towards burnout even in the games. I mean, just in life, because, like, my job gets to me a lot, but it's nice to kind of come home and, like, just kind of let it go. And I think that I'm definitely not alone in that because you already said it. And I know there's a lot of people, especially like everyone in the military or like Draco, for instance. I actually just met him, and I feel like we're already solid friends. Me and him have been playing GTO. I think not this prior week, but the week before. Spent every night playing GTFO. Sorry. And he is in the National Guard, and it's just like nice because he can go to the guard, he can do his stuff, then he can come home and he can act like a monkey in this chat and not really have to worry about like if something bad happened this weekend or something like that. You know what I mean? Because we have a lot of veterans in here too.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's, I think, a lot of the same for them, you know, because I've definitely talked to a few. And like even before when I was like in the 101st for that hot second I was in there, it was the same thing there. And I think that's one of the best things about this type of place is like, you know, like everybody has lives, but you can also kind of sit down and you can have a good time just being here. And it's not even playing ARMA, it's just being here. You know, like
yeah.
and you know, I'm really happy that even like Scorch will host the fire watches, and you can even have a conversation with him. You know, like I remember talking to a ton of people because I'm in the mentorship program that they are afraid to talk to him. And it's not like I don't think he's a scary person. It's just like with his rank and everything, like he's like,
Yeah, I think
you
that's
know,
what gets to most
Given,
people
he's
like
top
too.
banana.
the way this community is structured, it can kind of feel that way sometimes where it's like, oh, you know, that person is at the top and this community has like what 100+ people in it. You know, I just got here, I can't just go up and talk to, you know, community owner or whatever. But
But
definitely
hell yeah, you
that
can.
yeah, like of course you can. You know, that perception is very common, but it's definitely a false one. Like I remember Firewatch first got started back when I was like brand new to the community. We had this thing back then called Winter Stand Down. So during like the what was typically the like Christmas vacation days for like people to have time off from school, time off from like university and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We would just host no main operations back then. It would just be like, you know, hey, take a break, you know, relax, stuff like that. In hindsight, it was a very poor idea, and we've never implemented it again in that specific manner because that meant no one could get promoted. And like there were no main operations being hosted means no one could get promoted. Obviously, people will be hosting fun operations, but it was kind of like the worst time to join the unit because you would have to wait so long before you could start ranking up. So I was at Clone Cadet or CRC for just like 2 weeks and some change. And every time I went to a fun op, they'd be like, "Oh, so how you liking the unit so far? Are you enjoying it?" And I'd be like, "I've been here a week and a half. Like, dude, we've spoken before." And they'd be like, "Shit, my bad." But we had just started hosting Firewatch, or Scorch had just started hosting Firewatch at this time, back when he was still the head of Jade, our ARC Trooper program, and it was just a place where literally he would place down a campfire in the game. He would put a bunch of chairs in the game, and it was just VR chat but ARMA. Like you could just sit in the chairs and just shoot the shit, just talk about life or whatever. Like I'd go in there, and typically they'd ask the new person, tell us a story. Could be about pretty much anything you wanted. You could fucking talk about your life, talk about your day at work, just tell an interesting story. So I would tell stories about my time when I volunteered in a free clinic because when I was in undergrad, I was a pre-med student. I was studying and trying to get into medical school at that time. So I did a lot of work in healthcare. I still do with like my grad school stuff. But I had volunteered at a free clinic a lot where we would basically, see patients and stuff because they couldn't afford to go to the doctor and all that. And I would just tell stories about all the different, interesting people I'd meet, the really fascinating cases I'd see, like just a really tough diagnosis that I got that other people missed, and just pretty soon everyone just knew me as Dr. Trill, even though I don't have a doctorate degree, to be incredibly be very clear. And I feel like in a way I kind of pigeonholed myself into medic in that sense, into becoming a medic because everyone knew me for my doctor stories or my medical stories. So it was definitely just a great place to like get to know people, and like that's how Scorch kind of got to know me. He was like, oh, that's the guy with cool stories in healthcare and stuff like that. So definitely, yeah, there is I would describe this community as very opening and very welcoming. Like there's no really real reason to feel any sense of like, oh, I can't go talk to those guys. It's all a bunch of senior members of the unit in that channel and shit. And it's like, nah, man, just pop in, introduce yourself, and be a cool dude.
Yeah. Like even with the podcast idea, like I'm glad that because that was a hot minute. I think I guess I might have been VCT, so like veteran clone trooper. For those just who don't know, which is what CR, CRC, CT, SCT. So it's up there in rank, but it's still kind of low enough that you're still like
I don't
not
think
really
you've explained the ranking system on this podcast yet. And there are plenty of people who might be listening to this who might be like outsiders of the community. So you want me to go ahead
Yeah,
and just
absolutely.
real quick run that down? So
No, I got it. Well, like the long and short of it is just to kind of touch on it, because I'll definitely have a good long video as far as that's concerned, where we'll kind of go more into the rank structure and hold everything to a format. But essentially you have CR and CRC, like I mentioned just a minute ago. And CR is like a new member of the unit, just brand new, nothing really too major about it. CRC, though, the only difference is that instead of being a clone recruit at CR, you're a clone cadet at CRC, and that means that you've basically completed half your requirements to become a CT. So we'll get to that. That means to be a CT, you have to have a BCT, which is kind of like your basic boot camp style thing, where we kind of teach you the ins and outs of what is expected as a normal trooper, as well as a main up, a single main up. And at CRC, that means you've completed one of those two. So you do BCT, let's say you do a main up, you're all of a sudden a clone trooper. Clone trooper, CT, basic to the 91st. There's not really much to it. You basically fill in that. I think CT is kind of when the like training side of things come in, because you can't certify in much as a CR, right?
So right, when you hit the rank of CT, you are now like fully a part of the community. You can now start getting certain qualifications, which is basically you hop in the training server with somebody else. They're like, hey, here's how we use the anti-tank launcher in our particular mod set. Here are the things you can do with it. Here's what you can expect to see in an operation. And like that's basically what quals are. For those of you outside of ARMA, it is like, let's learn how to use this thing in game, and then now you know how to use it in the context of what we do in our community.
Yeah. And like there's a couple things that still block you, but that's kind of subjective, and like I said, we'll definitely go into a lot more detail as that comes up in the episodes. But after CT, it's SCT, so senior clone trooper. You essentially at this point are kind of going to that rank structure of main ops to time and grade. So essentially, I believe it goes up. You need to reach SCT at 5 main ops. So you play 1 main op that's already on your belt when you're CT. So you play 4 more main ops and you spend 4 weeks in grade. You get a promotion, SCT. There's not really much more of a change. You do have an armor change that happens as well, where you kind of have more like color added to you, more red. On top of that, you spend another 5 main ops, another 4 weeks. You turn into a VCT, which kind of leads me to that primary point of veteran clone trooper, who essentially where I was at when I think I suggested bringing up the podcast. So I'm glad that even at a rank like that, which seems like a not very beginner, but it's, in the beginning of everything, that people are still happily listening to you. It's not like, oh, you're VCT, oh, you're a CT, your ideas don't really matter yet. You need to catch rank. And so I'm glad that people were able to hear me when I was bringing up, at least as far as I'm concerned, a valid idea. Of course, if it's just like some wacko shit, like, I don't think anybody's going to listen to you, but whatever. after VCT, your 10 main ops, 4 weeks, you have CSP, so Clone Specialist. That's going to hit you at 20 main ops, so it kind of doubles. 6 weeks in grade instead of 4. But to get that, you also need to join one of the C shops. I know we mentioned those before, but I'm pretty sure every single one of those you can join for the most part, I think minus 1 or 2
for the
by
most
asking.
part, C1 through like all C shops 1 through 5 are more or less open depending on like what department it is. Different departments have different requirements, like different skills. You know, for example, like the C3 is more creative stuff. So like, are you good at video editing? Can you make like good screenshots, stuff like that, using like ARMA's mods? C6 is the moderation team. So basically, like, you know, Discord mods, insert GIF here of, you know, that dude with the fedora. TeamSpeak mods, making sure, you know, people's tags are up to date and stuff like that, so that the mods that we use with TeamSpeak will function. And then C7,
actually, you know, on top of that, real quick, Doc, one of our guys in here, for anyone in the unit listening, is actually looking for some moderators, like Trill mentioned. So if that is something that you hear that you're interested in, definitely hit him up. Just make sure you're at least VCT. That's all we ask. You can hit Doc up, just shoot him a DM and mention that you want to be in C6. But go ahead, Trill.
Right, and then the last one's C7. Loki's in C7. I think that's just like back end. Are the servers functioning? Usually it's no, but you know, occasionally it's yes, and then it's a good day when the answer's yes.
Yep.
So right at that point, you know, your rank becomes less about how many times you've played in the game, but more, you know, how much are you wanting to invest in this community? And you know, there are plenty of people. Like a good friend of mine, Royce, he's been in this unit, I think, almost as long as, if not longer, than our current company, XO Chard, and he's definitely been in this unit longer than me. He's one of the oldest members of the unit in terms of just how long he's been here. He sat at VCT for the longest time because he's like, I just want to come here, play anti-tank trooper once a week, and that's it. You know, like that's all I'm here for. And he sat at VCT, and he was happy. You know, he didn't care about extra customization or anything. And we all begged. He was like, dude, you have to, you know, you just join a C shop, Like you could finally hit CSP, because alongside some of our rank stuff for armor, you unlock different weapons at higher ranks. So you can play as an auto rifleman at, you know, CT, but if you hit SCT or even VCT, you unlock different options for what kind of gun you can bring as an auto rifleman. Like, you know, everyone who loves Star Wars probably knows what the Z6 is. If you want that Z6, you got to be a VCT. You know, if you want to have a Commander Fox moment. So eventually, we convinced him to join a C shop, and then he hit CSP. And at CSP, or Clone Specialist, you can unlock the PLX launcher from, you know, the original Star Wars Battlefront 2 instead of just the regular rocket launcher. And he was very happy. But ever since then, he has sat at CSP because he's like, I'm happy here. That's
fair enough.
You know, there's plenty of people who are like that, and then there are others who are like, you know, definitely want that extra customization. They want to commit more to the unit, which, you know, there are plenty of avenues for them to do so.
Yeah, and you know what I mean. And like that kind of leads us in, and I definitely want to spend so much more time on this, but that's another, you know, that's 40 an hour long conversation. Yeah,
it's a whole.
But I mean, just to wrap up the ranks, if anyone curious, like, so CLC and WO1 are parallel to each other, but they're not the same. So you have leadership and non-leadership. So if someone's like a team guy that just wants to shoot stuff and isn't really in charge of anything, but is still in C shops and that sort, because I'm pretty sure that's all you need to do, because I reached WO1.
Right. So the warrant officer ranks are
non-leadership.
They're non-leadership. They are more dependent on your commitment to the unit outside of the game. So I believe if you are in a C shop, just a member of a C shop, the maximum rank you can reach is Clone Warrant Officer Grade 1, or WO1. If you're active within 2 C shops, you can get Clone Warrant Officer Grade 2. And, you know, there's extra customization as you climb those ranks higher and higher.
Right, and then like 3 C shops, 3 IC, department lead, adjunct,
etc., etc. And then on the flip side of things, there is the the officer
Leadership.
ranks. Yeah, leadership.
Right.
So you, Dante, are at clone, Lance Corporal.
Right. Which is like the baseline leadership. You still have to be in a C shop though. So that's where they're very parallel with each other.
Definitely. You still do have to join a C shop. Then, of course, as you climb further and further up, it's less dependent on C shops, and it's more dependent on the billet that you hold. So fire team leads, 2 fire teams per squad. The max rank you can hold is a clone corporal. Squad lead, as I mentioned earlier in this episode, max rank you can hold is clone sergeant.
Sergeant.
Right. Move up and up. You can get higher and higher ranks.
Right, because you kind of trade responsibilities. Either you're going to have, sergeant or staff sergeant or corporal, dependent on whatever, but by the C shops and leadership, or you're going to reach those parallel warrant officer grades just by C shops. So either way, you're kind of be giving yourself, at least giving time to the unit where, so there's not really, I guess, a way out of that. Like, you definitely can't just get to like WoW 4 just by playing the game. You really do have to give your time, at least a little time. And I think that for anyone listening that's not in the unit or just doesn't know about C shops, like, it might sound strenuous, but I feel like they attract the people who actually want to be there and do that stuff. So
Definitely.
Like, I love writing. So like getting into the writing team was like a surefire thing. I just didn't even know about it. I didn't even know until you guys said something. Not you guys, but somebody told me about the writing, and I was like, oh, that. And like, you have people who are really good at administration work, and you get into C1 and you do paperwork and fill out qual forms and like put them in the right places. And so I think it's like people want to do that stuff because that's just what they're interested in. If you're not, I don't think anybody here would ever say anything to you. And if they do, that's a problem.
Yeah, that's
because it doesn't mean they care more.
Though the little letters next to your name are more or less trivial. Like, you're still a member of the community. You're still a friend, no matter what little letters you got next to your name. It's just a way to incentivize participation within the unit. Basically, it's a way to reward hard work.
I can say though, when I first got in here, I was trying to collect the C shops like Pokemon.
Yeah,
because I'm pretty sure I was a part of it. I literally had like C1, C2, C3, C5, but I dropped C1 in favor of Jesus, I'm in 2 different C3s, 2 different C5s, and now I'm in C2, so it's like so much work. But I'm glad that we could have these conversations. I'm glad that we were given the green light to the podcast. So thank you to the powers that be.
Yes, thank you, Papa Skonk, aka Skonkulus Donkulus.
Yeah.
Loki, I'm really happy that you could help with this. Trill, of course, I am extremely happy that we could have you on the podcast and have you be kind of our C shop extraordinaire.
Absolutely, and likewise. So happy that I got the chance to hop on here and kind of provide my experience and my wisdom of all the time that I've been here. It's definitely a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me today.
Absolutely. Of course, Peoples will have more for you on the back end coming out. If you have any questions, you can always message anybody for anything. You guys, everybody, have a great day.
Don't forget to hit that like button, ring the bell, subscribe, etc., etc. And we'll see you guys next time.